Good morning. Welcome to my channel, Mind Over Matter. I am Kelly. I hope you're all having a lovely day. I got a quick channel message here and I pulled some cards already, so let's see what Spirit wants you to know about. First of all is congratulations. You got your fire back, right? We didn't have it for a while. It got taken away so that we could learn patience, which is like the hardest lesson to me out of all of them, because you know you want what you want when you want it, but it's a good lesson to learn. Patience and trust, right? You got to trust that God's got your back, that your spirit team's working overtime for you, which they are, you know. You have a whole legion of angels and divine beings around you at all times, so relax. But yeah, so you had to learn how to master yourself. You know, you had to learn how to master your emotions. If you would have had your fire 6 months ago, you probably would have burned your town down. You know? So you had to learn to temper yourself, right? And another thing too is like we live in a self-correcting universe, you know? If somebody shoots a lot of energy your way and you don't agree to like the narrative or the projection, it's got nowhere to go. So positive has to equal out the negative. That's why you're not supposed to do anything. When people fuck with you, if you don't do anything, if you don't even care, like the universe will correct it and you'll get a bunch of blessings. So thank you to everybody helping me make dollars. Doing a good job. Keep up the good work. You know? Turn all that trash energy into bucks. That's what we're doing, right? Transmuting energy. So it is what it is. You also had to master compassion, because the real truth is there's a lot of really misguided people, right? They're misguided, they're lost, they're delusional, under delusions. Egos are just out of control. I was telling you, these people are doing the most out here on these spiritual streets, like doing the most over and over and over, like craziness. God help them, literally. God help them. But anyways, let's get back to your message. So your fire's back, and your aura is big as a house. It's huge. It's strong. You're shining so bright. You're so magnetic. Things are going so well. Dare I say, abundant. Better watch who you say that word around. People people get crazy over some abundance, right? Like, yikes. So, despite everything, despite all the forces seen and unseen, mostly unseen, because if people knew what other people was doing really behind closed doors, it's disgusting. But we're not here to talk about that. No energy. You know, one of the keys to manifestation is emotion, not just vibration, but intensity of vibration. And beyond that is balance. The core key to any sort of spiritual work is balance, right? You need to balance your emotional body, your spiritual body, your physical body, emotional, physical, and your mental body, right? They got to be balanced. So what Spirit was doing is helping you get all that stuff under control before they give you your fire. When you get spiritual protection, you don't really need fire, but I think that's also kind of a test. God's going to see if you're going to act out or be vindictive, which we're not. We send them love and light, right? Because when you're connected to your heart space, you're connected to God, you know? So we send love and we send light and we show them compassion. They don't know what they're doing. It's like the blind leading the blind and they're all being led off a cliff. So anyways, force plus will, right? That's when it comes in to managing your emotions. So congratulations. A lot of people don't get to this point. It's hard to have extreme faith, right? When you're going through some crazy things. But there's a lot of us that did. And now we're winning. You know, you got pushed out of your comfort zone. And that made you level up in the most surprising, awesome way. You got your fire back, right? It's time to start creating, building your dreams, inspiring people. You know, a lot of you guys didn't have a friend in the world and under crazy spiritual attack, but you're still going out inspiring people. And that's why you are who you are. You're the supermen and superwomen of the collective. However, I do wish I could find someone who knew where divine masculines are, because I don't know any. I've met two in my life, but I like don't have any in my life regularly for now. But I'm sure they're out there somewhere, right? Yeah, of course they are. They're coming. I can feel. Look, I can feel them in their energy. They're coming. They're on the way. So put yourself out there. Go have a good time. Be your beautiful, shining, magnetic self, and you'll attract them to them. Because that's what we do. We attract. We don't chase. Never gonna chase. No matter how many candles you light. So that's that. All right, back to the fire. You mastered yourself. Self-discipline. So a lot of people don't understand spiritual work is consistency, right? Over and over and over. Think of it as you're building a street or like you're cutting a path through the woods. You have to walk on that path, you know, and think of the path as neural pathways in your brain, neuroplasticity. You have to keep walking on that path, building that connection in your brain over and over again so that it's instantaneous, right? So it's like remote viewing or astro traveling or any kind of psychic work. What you're doing is building neural pathways in your brain. So while you've had no fire, you've been at home practicing, meditating, training, building those pathways, you know, personal development, self-development. And you're doing really good, right? Right. So congratulations. Your focus is on point. Your self-discipline is unmatched, you know. That's why you are who you are. The world needs you, and you've been training for it. Your energies are so freaking balanced, and things are going to speed up, right? Things are going to speed up so fast. Thank God, right? No more stagnancy. And life is going to interact different with you now. You know, you leveled up, level complete. Different level, different devils. But you're not even on the same timeline as the other people you were dealing with. They're stuck on that timeline for a really long time. So be grateful, give thanks to God. You know, blessed by the Most High. Look, one of my spirit guides has like a West African or South African accent. And that's what they tell me all the time. Blessed by the Most High. So are you. So am I. We love you, Spirit. We love you, God. Let's see. Things are going to speed up. Life's going to interact different with you. It's going to celebrate you, right? There's a whole new group of leaders stepping out. And that's another thing I wanted to mention real quick. There is nothing more dangerous than the half wise. You know, people know a little bit of stuff, but not all of it, but yet they're out directing people. You have to be really careful who you align with, right? And you really need to question people that you're having mentor you, okay? To make sure that they've had their own firsthand experience and that they're not just telling you about someone else's experience. Because if you know, and you can question them to see if they know what they're talking about. And there's a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about. There's a lot of copycat energy. People think if they walk around and say namaste and love and light, like, you know, they know what the fuck they're talking about and they really have no idea. So a couple of clues, if you want to know if somebody really knows what they're talking about, first of all, there's two ways to do this, right? You can either connect to the divine, the higher realms, or you can connect to the lower realms, right? The lower realms will never be even remotely as strong to your connection, the power and the connection that comes from God in the higher realms. Well, beings that are attuned with the higher realms and those ascended masters and teachers and stuff, they have an essence that would be of a higher realm. You know, they're very warm. You would feel their warmth in their presence. They exude safety and peace and love you know? They are such inviting people. Like you get around them and you're just like, man, I feel great. And then just start laughing. It's a really lighthearted, silly energy. And they also have really good sense of humors. Like spirits, angels, all of them, they are all so hilarious, so funny. So if you got someone that's trying to teach you and they're real serious and solemn and like have no color in their skin, you know, wear black and are all serious, it's a phony, right? It's not somebody you want to deal with. Real teachers are so loving, so funny. They're fucking awesome to be around, you know, and they'll never train you or encourage you to hurt somebody, much less to get into teams and try to like hurt somebody. Like, that's not of the divine. I don't even know what that is. Anything like shadowy where you got to throw a rock and run and hide your hand, you know? Yeah, people out here hiding behind trees, fucking stalking people, all up in the shadows. All that shadow shit is devil shit. Please, you guys, don't let anyone ever convince you that that's the way to go, because you really will lose like your connection to your soul. Your spirit will lose its connection to your soul, and that's your connection to God, right? It's important. So there's that. Life's going to act differently towards you. It's going to value you. It's going to recognize your value. The days of people not seeing you in your true form is over. Like, your energy was cloaked for a reason. You know, I think that there's probably a lot of people looking at you differently. Like, a lot. But that's the way that was supposed to be too. They would have saw you the correct way if they would have looked close enough. But enough about that. But you're being encouraged to step out in that big energy, right? No more pulling back, no more keeping yourself hid. The world needs you. Step out, be your beautiful magnetic self. You're allowed to love yourself publicly and out loud and be confident and not feel like you're being arrogant, because there's a difference between confidence and arrogant. Like, real powerful people, really people that you should probably be scared of, they're not the ones in the room trying to convince everybody that they're powerful, right? That's what I don't ever get. There's like this crazy ass bully energy out here. And the even crazier part is the person that's trying to bully you, they love you. They love the shit out of you. But I don't think they've ever been in love. So I think that they think it's like you're manipulating them or something. But it's really, they just love you. And they don't know how to handle it. So they're acting like a third grader, you know, throwing rocks and shit. But anyways, so be confident, be humble. The testing other people's motives phase is over. You be in the trap to lure in these narcissists so spirit can kick their ass. That part's over. You leveled up out of that. Thank goodness. Look, I wrote down, wakey, wakey, time to shine. Because, yeah, this girl is on fire. Or guy. So, yeah, you're on fire. You're beautiful. You're magnetic. It's time to start creating. You know, keep on fighting the good fight. God loves you. I love you. Nobody's told you today that I love you. I love you. So I wish you all the best. Congratulations. Keep up the good work and live your best life. See you later.